What's up guys, eDrone here. Today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of the new DJI Mavic Air 2. Stay tuned. I've been wanting to make this video for a little while now. I've had my DJI Mavic Air 2 for a little over a month, and I gotta say I've really been enjoying it. It's been very fun to fly. I really do like this drone. That's what makes this video a little bit difficult for me to make, because I have to take a step back and I have to put my love that I have for this drone aside, and I have to look at this drone in an unbiased way and look at the pros of this drone and the cons as a consumer. I purchased this drone as a consumer, like most of you watching this video. So the way I feel about this drone is going to be the way I feel for the money I spent. We're going to be looking at my experiences with the drone, as well as some feedback I've gotten through some fellow Mavic Air 2 owners that have reached out to me and told me about some of the issues that they were having as well. While I have not had all the issues that others have had, I felt like it was still relevant to go ahead and bring it up in this video. Let's go ahead and start this off by talking about the cons, and then I want to end it on talking about the pros. And like I said, I really do love this drone, and I have to take a step back, and let me just tell you that all the cons that I seem to find on this drone, most of them can or could be fixed with firmware updates, most of them. So keep that in mind, and I'm going to be doing this video as coming from the DJI Mavic Air. I have owned lots of drones, as you can see behind me. I do FPV drones. I've had various DJI drones, Phantom 3 Standard. I've flown Mavic 2 Pro. I've flown the Mavic Pro. So I've had lots of experience with DJI drones. So I want you to take that into account when you go ahead and watch this video. Let's go ahead and start this off by talking about the cons. This drone has a 4K at 60 FPS. However, it is not able to do HDR in that frame rate. There's no live stream option as in the making of this video, which that could change in a firmware update, and I hope it does. Some people have been saying that their batteries have been swelling. Some of the Mavic Air 2 batteries have been swelling according to some users. I have not had this issue with mine. My batteries have been completely fine. The one that came with the drone has been fine, and then I purchased a second battery from DJI, and that one has been fine as well. So no issues for me with the battery swelling. Quick shots are limited to 1080p. So if you're going to do those fancy quick shots like Boomerang and Asteroid, all those quick shots right now, as the making of this video, are limited to 1080p. There is no gimbal sensitivity adjustment as of now, although for me, myself, the gimbal wheel, I actually feel that it has a very good range of motion on it. So if you just kind of move the wheel kind of slow, the gimbal does react, you know, the way you move the wheel. So it is very sensitive to the wheel. So if you move the wheel quick, you're going to get a quick gimbal adjustment, and if you move it slow, you're going to get a slower adjustment. But there is no sensitivity adjustment as of now. There is no gesture controls or flying with your hand like on the original Mavic Air. Active track is easy to lose behind obstacles such as cars, trees, buildings. There is no option of saving the Hyperlapse waypoints as of this video. That would be a nice feature, that the Hyperlapse waypoints, so we could go back on a different day and get the same shot if we needed to. The DJI Go 4 app had settings for the original Mavic Air for your gain and Expo you could actually adjust manually. The only time I really used that was when I was changing to buying like the quiet propellers from Master Air Screw. However, this drone already comes with quiet propellers, so for me, it's not really a big deal that it doesn't have those settings. But for somebody who may be wanting to take this drone and carry additional weight, use it for purposes like that, that's where you would really want to be able to go ahead and tweak those gain and Expo settings for the drone to carry additional weight, or if you wanted to use aftermarket propellers. Let's talk about the controller. The controller, one con of the controller is it is larger, So this is a larger controller than the original Mavic Air and a lot of the Mavic Pro, Mavic 2 series. So it is a little bit heavier and it's a little bit bulkier to take with you. On the actual DJI Fly app, the battery percentage is actually difficult to see sometimes, especially when you're in the air. Because the battery icon is outlined in white, that up against a nice sky, it makes it really hard to see what the actual percentage is on the battery. Flight time box actually is hidden. It hides the battery percentage when you tap on it. So when you tap on the battery, it pops up a little box on the app where you actually can see the flight time and the battery voltages. That's great. I love that they have that information right on the main screen. However, when you push that, it hides the battery percentage. So it would be nice to see if we could have the battery percentage also displayed in that box with the flight time and the battery voltage. Probably the biggest con of this drone for most people is going to be there's no sideways obstacle avoidance. So if this drone's flying sideways, whether it's doing quick shots or autonomous flights or sideways tracking, there's no obstacle avoidance. So if this drone's flying sideways, it can and it will hit obstacles and cause crashes. So you need to be aware of your environment, where you're flying it, what kind of shot are you trying to perform, do you have enough space around you when you're doing that function. But not having the side obstacle avoidance is probably the biggest con of this drone. Now let's go ahead and talk about the pros of the new DJI Mavic Air 2. The price point, $799 for the drone and controller and with one battery and the charger. I think that's great that they came in at the same price that the original Mavic Air launched at, and you're getting a lot more for your money. You're losing some features as far as the app's concerned, but you're gaining so much more when it comes to features and functionality of this drone. $988 for the Fly More combo. Once again, you're getting 2 more batteries and you're getting a lot of other accessories, multiple chargers. So that's a really good value. I would suggest if you don't have a lot of that stuff already, go ahead and get the Fly More combo for $988. Let's talk about the camera as a pro. 4K at 60 frames per second. So this drone coming in at $799 has a higher frame rate than the Mavic 2 Pro. The Mavic 2 Pro is only able to shoot 4K 30. So the Mavic Air 2, 4K 60, and what you can do with that 4K 60 is you can actually slow that footage down and it won't look jerky. It's going to still look smooth with the higher frame rate. You got more information in the frames, so that's a really good feature to have. Also have HDR, which is high dynamic range. At 4K 30, you're able to have that high dynamic range where it actually gives you more contrast in the lighter and darker areas of the video, so it actually looks a lot more crisp and alleviates some of that post-editing that you may have to do after getting those shots. So love the HDR 4K 30. I love the 4K 60, able to slow that down. One of the biggest pros of this drone, in my opinion, is the OcuSync 2.0. This is going to give you a 10-kilometer 1080p at 30 frames per second transmission to your device that's hooked to your controller. I did a range test, so make sure you check out that video. I'll put it up here in the right hand corner. Make sure you check out that range test. I was able to get this almost 4 miles and had zero issue with the video or the signal quality for the control link. Now, that was in a very low Wi-Fi prone interference area with no Wi-Fi, no trees, wide open area. That was a best case scenario. But I will tell you that I have flown this drone in highly congested Wi-Fi areas behind trees and lots of obstacles blocking my path, and still was able to get this drone a mile out with no issues on the lag or control. So keep that in mind, that OcuSync 2.0 is a very stable control link. Now let's talk about the 48 megapixel photo option. That's a pro for me. You're able to take 48 megapixel photos with this drone, and when you actually zoom in on that photo, there's a lot of detail, a lot of information that doesn't get blurry when you zoom it in because of all the extra information that you're getting with the quad bearer sensor that this drone uses. Let's talk about the battery life. For me, the battery life is a pro, even though some people are saying that, you know, they're not happy with the battery life. I'm going to tell you like this. The 34-minute advertised flight time that they say that this drone can do, that is from 100% battery to 0% battery with no wind and optimum conditions. So keep that in mind when they give you when they quote these flight times. That's best case scenario from 100 to 0%. I don't recommend flying your drone down to 0% battery because it's going to shorten the lifespan of your batteries. But I will tell you this. I've been getting a consistent 25 to 29 minute flight time, no issues whatsoever. So I'm happy with that. It's an improvement over my Mavic Air. So if I can get a solid 25, 29 minutes of flight time per battery, I'm cool with that. That's more than enough battery I need to get the job done. Now you want to keep in mind, if you're looking to get more flight time out of this, you're going to want to make sure that you have your battery completely charged, and when it's done charging, you want to take it off that charger and go fly it immediately. The longer the battery sits, even if it sits plugged into the charger, it's going to automatically start discharging to protect the batteries. This drone handles extremely well. Another pro, this thing feels very nimble in the air. It's very graceful. It's easy to control, and I feel like it moves very smoothly and gracefully, and I love the way it handles. It does handle the wind extremely well. I'm happy with that. The wind handling is very well. I'm not sure why DJI rates the wind speed at a max resistance of only 23 miles an hour, but I've flown this drone over that, gotten the wind warnings, but yet everything seemed to be fine as far as handling the drone in the higher wind. So it handles that extremely well. Active Track as a Pro, it is an improvement over the original Active Track on the Mavic Air. It definitely does not lose the subject as easy as it did with the original Mavic Air, so the Active Track does work better, but it's not perfect. Has a very good top speed, 42 miles an hour top speed is plenty good enough for me in sport mode. That's a good speed to be able to get those nice fast shots, whether you're trying to get a shot coming to a subject or going away from a subject. That's a good speed, and you're able to track things decently with that top speed. A Smart Photo, another pro of the DJI Mavic Air. That Smart Photo is going to make sure it optimizes all your lighting conditions to give you the best photo out of the box. I feel like this drone is designed to definitely be easier to use and get those nice beautiful shots, whether it be video or pictures, with a couple clicks on the app right out of the box, so to speak. Be able to pull the photo or video files off the drone and be able to almost use them like right away, taking those photos and getting the best optimum lighting conditions for that particular photo. The hyperlapses are very easy to do. I did a tutorial on that, so make sure you check out that video in my DJI Mavic Air 2 playlist. The hyperlapses are very easy to do, and they actually work really well, so I'm very happy with the hyperlapses. Also, there's a little hidden feature about this drone that's really cool. So actually, you can move the gimbal with just a touch of a finger on the screen. So if you hold down on the screen while you're flying and move your finger, it will actually move the gimbal automatically, quieter. This drone is so much quieter than the original Mavic Air. I feel like this drone right here is quieter than the original Mavic Pro Platinum, I think. You can barely hear it. It's definitely not annoying. It has a nice quiet foldable propellers. It's really nice. I'm actually really happy with the foldable propellers as well. I love the fact that they fold. It makes stowing it even easier when you go to pack it up, put it in your bag. The original Mavic Air props did not fold, and they kind of got in the way sometimes when you went to go fold it up. So really happy about the foldable props on the Mavic Air 2. Let's talk about the build quality. A solid build quality on this. It doesn't feel like a cheap plastic. It has a really good weight to it, and it feels really solid in the hand. Folding it up, everything feels nice and tight, nice and premium. I feel like if I were to drop this drone or crash this drone, make sure you check out this video. If you do crash this drone, it feels pretty robust, and I've seen other reviewers that have crashed it as well with minimum damage. So that goes to speak on the durability of this drone. It seems pretty solid. Let's talk about the controller. Pros of the controller. Even though it is larger and a little bit bulkier, I love the controller. It feels so good in my hands. It's got these nice rubberized grips on the back, and it just cradles your hands, and it feels very premium. The gimbals feel excellent. It feels like I'm very in touch with the drone as I'm flying it. I love that we have the normal tripod and sport mode right here on the front with a 3-position switch. I love the way that the cable management in the controller, the way the phone fits in there and plugs in. I love that the antenna's on the top. You don't have these antennas that are moving around on the controller. On my original Mavic Air, those antennas after a while actually started to become loose and they started moving on their own. So really happy with the controller on this one, and the cable management and how your phone rests in the device, how it all hooks in. It feels very premium and works really good. Let's talk about USB-C charging on the controller. I think that's an awesome feature. Most of everything I use nowadays is USB-C, so it's quick and easy to just plug it in. You don't have to look at it, make sure you have the plug, you know, in the correct way. Like on the original Mavic Air, you had to make sure that the plug was plugged in a certain way when you went to charge the controller. Talk about the battery life of this controller. Excellent. I think that with the larger controller, they actually give you a larger battery in here, so that's a lot of the weight in this controller is a nice oversized battery. However, I'm able to get 3-4 flights on one battery charge on the controller without having to recharge it. Another pro of this drone is definitely the micro SD card slot. The micro SD card slot on this drone is so easy to get to with just a little bit of a fingernail push. You can open it up and you can pop in your micro SD card and pop it out very easily. Unlike the original Mavic Air, you had to pull back this little back piece on the back of the drone, and it was kind of tucked in there to where you had to get something. Your finger was just a little bit too fat to go ahead and push it and get the micro SD card out, so you always had to have like a tool, whether it be a screwdriver or something to pop it out in and out. But on this one, no tool needed. It's very easy to pop this open with a fingernail. I love that we also have this auxiliary LED light. That's another pro for me. The auxiliary LED light on the bottom of this drone is a huge pro for me. I think that this is a really cool feature they added, which helps assist with landing in darker conditions, and it actually helps you to be able to see it better with visual line of sight. You can actually see this LED, it's so bright in the daytime, and no problem. That will help you spot out the drone even better. But make sure you guys put your comments. What do you guys think about the new DJI Mavic Air 2? Put it down in the comment section. Did I miss anything? Do you agree, disagree with some of the pros and cons that I gave on this drone? Let me know down in the comment section. I'd really like to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please check out my DJI Mavic Air 2 playlist, and make sure you like, share, and subscribe. More DJI Mavic Air 2 videos to come on the channel, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, guys, thanks for watching. eDrone out.